Inch-thick steel plates, a MIG welder, a TIG welder, some concrete, a concrete mixer, multiple TV screens, and a Komatsu D355A bulldozer. These are the things that I would require if Ferrari didn't get their act together. I would have created my very own Killdozer. I would have been at the point of creating my own armoured death machine and driving it 1,000 miles from the Schizo shed to Maranello. After a very average result in Suzuka and a double disqualification in China, Ferrari really needed a good weekend. In the run-up to the Bahrain Grand Prix, Charles and Lewis went down different development paths, and Ferrari implemented a floor upgrade to the car. They also tried a different strategy to the rest of the grid. Now we know how this goes. The words Ferrari and strategy go together like nitro and glycerin, and it all blows up in your face. But this time it sort of didn't not work. It was okay. Everyone started on softs while Ferrari went for medium compound tyres. This made them less competitive at the start, but they were hoping that they would go longer than the soft-tyred drivers. But unfortunately, the mediums only lasted slightly longer than the softs. To be fair, a fourth and fifth following the two fastest cars on the grid, the McLarens, and a rather miraculous George Russell wasn't a bad result for the weekend. And towards the end, Charles managed to make himself wide as fuck and stopped Norris coming past him for like a good 10 laps. So Ferrari have earned themselves a reprieve from me going full Marvin Heemeyer in my Killdozer around Maranello. For now, don't test me, motherfuckers. Overall, the Bahrain Grand Prix was entertaining. Thank fuck for that, because I was getting seriously worried about this season. It was going to be a long old season in the shed if it just continued like Suzuka and China. At least it's getting mildly entertaining. Oscar Piastri controlled the entire race from pole to the end. Other things that went right: Pierre Gasly managed to haul his big blue French tractor up into 7th, with old rival and fellow Brie enthusiast Esteban Ocon just behind him in his American tractor. Yuki Tsunoda finished in the points, the first time that a Red Bull second driver has finished in the points alongside Max since Las Vegas. And Ollie Behrman managed to get from 20th from the back of the grid up to 10th and into the points, so well done to the fetus. George Russell and Lando Norris both were using steering wheels nicked from unreliable Land Rovers, as they had a wealth of warning lights and things not working throughout the race. Everyone was far too hot, and Oscar couldn't even have a drink in the car, full Kimi Räikkönen style.
We forgot to connect, Jimmy. You will not have the drink, sorry.
Then images came out of Lando and George Russell getting naked in the cool-down room, and every 14-year-old Drive to Survive enthusiast had a bit of a moment. Other things that went wrong: Carlos Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda had a bit of a ding-dong into turn 1, which caused Carlos to retire with a shattered arsehole. And the Red Bull pit light didn't work and just spent the entire race flashing yellow, so they didn't know whether they could get released or not. As even Ted Kravitz said, what was wrong with the bloke with the fucking lollipop? Electronics often go wrong, especially in heat, and humans never get anything wrong. There's no human errors ever.
He overshot his pit box.
Verstappen complained about the car overheating. Verstappen complained that his front right wheel wouldn't come off during a pit stop. And Verstappen complained about the car still having balance issues. This caused the strategy lady on the pit wall to pull this face, because she knows she's got a nice evening to look forward to, spending the evening as Max's sim race seat. Yeah, that's the face of someone who works in a healthy working environment. And Lewis Hamilton made the bold claim that his car wouldn't turn. Lawson had a pretty woeful race, as did Hadjar, which was not a surprise and a surprise respectively. Now, as we know, a lot of the drivers are complaining that the cars are difficult to drive at the moment. And this weekend, I wasn't at the Bahrain Grand Prix, I wasn't even in the shed, I was at Goodwood watching old historic cars race around. No DRS, no traction control, no radios, and more often than not, no seatbelts. One of the main races were for cars that were from pre-World War I. Some of the cars racing was this, the Fiat S76, otherwise known as the Beast of Turin, and the Sunbeam Landspeed record car, and this thing, the Deranged 200 horsepower. Now, Max, Lewis, Lando, you can complain that your car is difficult to drive when you've gone wheel to wheel in the rain in some of these fucking things. Until that point, shut up. When this can happen to you, you can complain.
No chance you can ever catch him. We know 15 seconds between them. Round he rotates. And he's dropped it coming out of the... well, he's hit the tire wall and he's about to...
That was the deranged clipping the grass on the outside of the chicane and sending it into the barriers, while the guy was chasing down the lead of the race. The driver was a lunatic called Mark Walker. He hit the barrier and was thrown over the 25-litre V8 engine from 1905 and landed on the tyre wall on his back. After visiting the trackside Pirelli chiropractor, he managed to pick himself up off the wall, run back to his car and shut it off, which was having a proper mare, parked up on the grass with its wheel folded over. Then he proceeded to have an emotional moment looking at the car that was ruined that he had rebuilt from scratch. Now that is a fucking difficult car to drive. You fucking spoiled Monaco living fetus, traction controlled driving